Hello, everyone. I'm Major Garrett in Washington. Tonight on America Decides, war plan, attack plan, whatever you call it, we now have the play-by-play. Why? Because the Atlantic magazine today released more text messages that it received inadvertently, and the new revelations detail what was sent from an account belonging to Secretary of Defense Pete Hegseth, relaying specific operational details of upcoming military strikes on Houthi forces and targets in Yemen. Included in this information, targets, weapons the U.S. would deploy, attack sequencing, even weather forecasts. Today in Hawaii, Hegseth denied again that classified information was shared. Let's listen.
Well, I noticed this morning out came something that doesn't look like war plans. And as a matter of fact, they even changed the title to attack plans because they know it's not war plans.
President Trump focused on working to change the story, if that's possible. This afternoon, he touted his record to date in office the second time around at a Women's History Month event at the White House. And he is scheduled sometime this evening, maybe in the next hour or so, to make announcements regarding potential new tariffs on autos, cars, or parts. This could be a big escalation in a trade war. All this happening, if it flows as outlined by the White House, ahead of an announced April 2nd deadline. If those things happen, we'll bring them to you. We start tonight with Charlie D'Agata and Jennifer Jacobs. Jennifer's at the White House. Charlie D'Agata is at the Pentagon. Charlie, I want to start with some sound from the Defense Secretary, the Director of National Intelligence, and the Secretary of State. Let's play that.
Well, I noticed this morning out came something that doesn't look like war plans. And as a matter of fact, they even changed the title to attack plans because they know it's not war plans.
It was a mistake that a reporter was inadvertently added to a signal chat with high-level national security principals, having a policy discussion about imminent strikes against the Houthis.
Obviously, someone made a mistake. Someone made a big mistake and added a journalist. Nothing against journalists, but you ain't supposed to be on that thing.
So, Charlie, here's what I want to ask you about. It seems there is a concerted effort to, if there is an admission of guilt or reference to a mistake, the mistake so far in the rhetoric from Trump administration officials is limited to the inclusion, inadvertent inclusion, of Jeff Goldberg of The Atlantic on this text chain, not discussing this sensitive information on an unsecured commercial app known as Signal. That still strikes me as highly problematic based on my experience, and I imagine, I know for a fact, you have much more experience in that world than I do.
Major, I've never seen anything like it. And, you know, it's a classic, it's a cliche of kill the messenger, not the message. Because, you know, Jeffrey Goldberg, in his article, he said that the consequences for American pilots could have been catastrophic. And I'm always careful of being prone to exaggeration. But reading these entries of the full chat, I can't argue with that. And here's the reason. So you've got the U.S. Secretary of Defense among a very small, close-hold group of people who would have known that information. He sends a message on that Signal group 31 minutes before, that's critical, before the launch of the first U.S. jet fighters, in this case off F-18s off the deck of the USS Harry S. Truman, and more than 2 hours before a strike on what was referred to as a terrorist target at his known location. So had that information fallen into the hands of the Houthis or somebody who could have helped the Houthis, they would have had more than enough time to prepare for it, to take cover, to change locations, to use their surface-to-air missiles to target warplanes and their pilots. You know, they have had the capability of shooting down high-flying drones. And the most damning part of these new revelations, and this is the reason, you know, we've already discussed the first wave, the first report that came out, and he was very careful about not giving out information in those initial reports. So this gave the exact timings of the launch, the exact weapons packages that were used, F-18 fighter jets, strike drones, followed by sea-based Tomahawk cruise missiles. These are his words, including the timings of those launches before and during those operations. He even mentioned OPSEC Clean, operational security, to sort of, well, I don't know. It's actually first acknowledging that maybe the information that he was sharing might have been sensitive or classified. And it also strikes me that nobody else in that room maybe thought, you know what, this seems really detailed. Maybe we should take this to a different place. Didn't strike anybody there. That is what I found astonishing in the more information that was shared in this report.
And Jennifer Jacobs at the White House, I want to play you something, two pieces of sound. One is from President Trump last night on Newsmax, and then today is an exchange at a House hearing involving the FBI Director Kash Patel and Christy Houlihan, a member of Congress, Democrat from Pennsylvania. I want to listen to them in sequence because I think one plays into the other. Let's listen.
What it was, we believe, is somebody that was on the line with permission, somebody that was with Mike Waltz, worked for Mike Waltz at a lower level, had, I guess, Goldberg's number or called through the app, and somehow this guy ended up on the call. Now, it wasn't classified, as I understand it. There was no classified information. There was no problem. I feel very comfortable, actually.
Do you believe that it's now time potentially for the FBI to open an investigation into this?
I'm not going to comment on that.
Because you're the director of the FBI, you don't believe it's appropriate to comment on that?
Because there's a process in place, there's an ongoing litigation, and the National Security Council is reviewing this matter. And I'm not going to discuss any open or closed investigations.
That ongoing investigation, literally, the lawsuit happened today or yesterday afternoon, and the idea that you don't have an opinion on this at this point is frustrating to me.
No, it's not. I'm not going to prejudge any matters, and the men and women of the FBI will call the balls and strikes,
reclaiming my time,
not
sir.
you.
So, Jennifer, the reason I think those things play into one another is the president has said he has no problem with this, doesn't believe this is an FBI matter. And the FBI director, answering questions from members of Congress, said, I have no opinion on it. Those things seem to be aligned.
Right. What I can tell you, Major, is that the New Atlantic reporting created a whole new firestorm this morning. The whole theme for today was mistakes were made. So that's an advancement on yesterday with officials admitting that mistakes were made. And the president himself said that the mission wasn't compromised, that the attack wasn't affected. But I can tell you that there were many conversations happening behind closed doors in the White House, in the administration, with people talking about how this was very hard to defend, that this information really was classified information. In fact, one of my sources said that this would have been considered target folder information, which would be a subset of a war plan because it had specific targets and specific weapon systems. So the private conversations that were happening today were about how this was a bad look for the National Security Advisor for creating this chain to begin with, a bad look for the Secretary of Defense to be talking in this chain like it was his first time ever doing such an operation and talking about how everything was awesome and how nobody spoke up and said, hey, we should move this to the high side, which is the classified system. So there was just a lot of cringing and just many, many conversations behind closed doors today about this on day 3 when it seemed like that this was dying down, but it just reopened again today.
And Jennifer, that's a crucial bit of reporting you just discussed because there is this nonchalance publicly that you said is not reflective of the internal conversations right now.
Right. The officials that I have spoken to said this is just really hard to defend. But you did see the administration officials go out on television today and try to defend it. The Secretary of State said, look, I only weighed in twice to name my representative for this and to congratulate afterwards. Steve Witkoff publicly said, hey, I used good cyber hygiene when I was over in Russia. You had the Treasury Secretary say, I prefer using the telephone. I'm an old school guy. So they were doing their best to defend what has been very difficult to defend. But I did ask the press secretary in today's White House briefing, can you say definitively that no one will lose their jobs over this? And she could not say that. She just says, all I can say definitively is that the president still has confidence in his national security team. And then some of my other national security sources said the key here is that battle assessment, the assessment on whether every single target that was planned to be hit on March 15th, on the day of the strike, was actually hit. Because if they weren't, that would be an indication that perhaps the enemies did get some of this information, that the mission was compromised, and that perhaps they moved some of the targets. So we're still seeking answers on that. I asked the press secretary about that today, and she referred us to the Pentagon. So we'll keep digging on that.
Excellent. Charlie Daggett at the Pentagon and Jennifer Jacobs at the White House, thank you very, very much.